Staff figured we've got things clicking the way we want these last 3 weeks. And all of a sudden you run into a green buzzsaw.
You would think three wins in a row. They were coming in sky high. There's Paul Gunther right there talking to the defense, having the entire defensive unit around him. I'm sure he's sending that message right now is we did not play well enough today, and trying to keep some continuity, keep those guys together.
And with that, the clock will wind down. John Gruden and Adam Gase will meet at midfield. They'll go their separate ways. Adam Gase with a 3-game winning streak under his belt as the Jets win it 34-3 for Trent Green, for Melanie Collins, Gene Steratore, and the rest of our crew. Greg Gumbel saying so long from East Rutherford, New Jersey. Let's take you to Nate Burleson in New York with the State Farm post-game show.
Now, for those watching Raiders-Jets, the Jets win their 3rd straight game. They win this one 34-3 over the Raiders. Now to the Panthers-Saints, tied at 31. Let's join Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson. What a game this is.
His size and his ability to be strong at the point with his hands.
Of the game. Victory formation. 2 touchdown passes by the quarterback. The rookie runs for 100 yards for the first time in his career. And Frank Gore becomes the 3rd all-time leading rusher in pro football history. 8-3 Buffalo in the playoffs in that race right now. Number 5 as it stands, and right in back of New England in the East, with a lot of football to be played. 20-3 the Buffalo Bills. The State Farm post-game show is coming up. For Rich Gannon, Jay Feely, and Gene Steratore, Kevin Harlan saying good night from Orchard Park and happy Thanksgiving from all of us at CBS. Let's go live to New York and James Brown.
All right, Kevin, so Buffalo improves to 8-3 for the first time since 1996. We take you out to New Orleans, Carolina. Saints all knotted at 31, 6:58 left in regulation. Let's join Jim Nantz.
They're up 17-3 on Philly. San Francisco, this is the play right here.
Again, associated with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, next man up. And think about all the players who came to the forefront today. Benny Snell, he was down at the bottom of the list, next man up. Quarterback, next man up.
So we update the wild card picture, and Steeler fans will like this. They have moved up to the final wild card spot for the time being. The Raiders losing and the Steelers defeating the Bengals 16-10. Pittsburgh now 6-5 on the year. For James Lofton, John Schriffen, Gene Steratore, our entire crew, this is Andrew Catalan saying so long from Cincinnati. Now it's time for bonus coverage of the Panthers and Saints. Here's James Brown in New York.
All right, so we're going to take you to the game. Carolina at New Orleans, 2:21 left in regulation, all tied at 31. Carolina overcame a 13-point third-quarter deficit. Let's join the announcers there. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson.
CBS Sports presents the Geico Play of the Day.
In our nation's capital, Washington, Steve Sims takes the kickoff and immediately fumbles. Mike Ford wants him to pay for his mistake, but Sims recovers swiftly, takes off, hearing only the footsteps of kicker Matt Prater. He marches 91 yards to pay dirt. All's forgotten, all's well in D.C.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. This is the State Farm Post-Game Show.
And hello again, everyone, and welcome to the State Farm Post-Game Show. I'm James Brown, along with Coach Nate Boomer and Phil. And, folks, we get you set right now with the highlights.
Man, what a game down in the Superdome between the Saints and the Carolina Panthers. Drew Brees is going to find Michael Thomas right here at 1st and goal. This is going to be a touchdown. 31-18, New Orleans takes the lead. And how about Michael Thomas, 10 catches, 100 yards, 1 TD. Kyle Allen comes back. He finds DJ Moore. This was actually a 4th and goal from the 2. You have a missed field goal attempt by Carolina, and then Will Lutz comes back and hits this. Drew Brees, 30 of 39, 311 yards, 3 TDs. New Orleans now moves into the number 2 seed in the NFC, no matter what happens between the Packers and the 49ers.
They've got a record of 9-2 right now. Hey, Coach, one of the things I was noticing from a coaching standpoint that Sean Payton and company, even after the overturn call, and it was pass interference, they maintained their calm.
They did. You know, there was a call earlier in the game that he challenged that did not get overturned. And so, but again, I think the one thing about this team, they're very resilient. I was impressed also because the fact they had left their whole left side of their lines. Pete did not play today. Armstead went down their left tackle early in this game. A lot of duress right there on Drew Brees. But I'll tell you what, they got it done. Kamara showed up late in this game. Big win for New Orleans.
Yeah, how about Michael Thomas showing up once again?
Yeah.
I mean, he goes into that first half. He hits 100 catches on the season. Then the second half, no bigger play than right there at the end where he catches that ball on the sideline. I believe it was a fake slant. He hits the sideline and, of course, taps his feet on the sides. I mean, these guys are loaded with individuals that can make big plays, and they make big plays in the right moments.
All right, talk about making big plays. Drew Brees, of course, continues to play exceedingly well. 30 of 39, 311 yards, 3 touches. Folks, he now is tied with Tom Brady, 531 touchdowns on his career. 19 seasons he's been at it, and afterwards he talked with our own Tracy Wolfson.
Drew, just a back and forth affair out there, and I could sense the frustration at times throughout this game from you. But just to come out and win it, how can you describe the effort this team showed down there, especially on that final drive?
Yeah, really proud of our team. I felt like things didn't always go the way that we had planned, really based upon some mistakes that we made, I think, on both sides of the ball. So, listen, a lot of credit to them. They played an exceptional game, both offensively and defensively. But, listen, we'll take them however we can get them. And all you want is a chance to win in the end. And can't say enough about the team and our effort today and just our ability to come and get a big division win at home.
Huge division win, and now a quick turnaround. You face Atlanta, but a chance to really lock up the division in November. How much was that on your mind coming into this one and just knowing what you can do so early in the season?
Honestly, I'm just waiting to see our best game. I haven't seen it yet. I'd say not even close. So I think we took steps towards that today. Hopefully we'll take more steps towards it next week. And hopefully those result in wins. And then all our goals will be accomplished if we can just focus on that.
Wish you the best of luck and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too, Tracy.
All right, there you have it. This is the setup for the playoffs. As you can see, New Orleans right now is the #2 seed in the NFC. No matter what happens, if Green Bay wins tonight, they will then fall to the #1 seed, and then San Francisco would fall to the #3 seed. But a huge win for the New Orleans Saints. And I will say one other thing about this game. Kyle Allen, the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, really showed up big in this game. That touchdown pass on 4th and goal had his team obviously in the situation where they could have kicked a game, at least go ahead field goal there at the end. So I can't say enough about how Kyle Allen played on the road in New Orleans in what really was a huge game for his team.
Yeah, Joey Slye, don't forget about the 2-minute warning for the Carolina Panthers, missed a field goal that would have put them ahead. Not only that, they missed 2 extra points today. Yeah. I don't know. We sit here and watch games all day, and it's missed extra points and field goals. It's like records every time. But, Kyle Allen played well. Of course, Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, 2 touchdown catches. And the same old people, when you talk about New Orleans, who is it? It's Kamara, it's Thomas, it's Drew Brees, and Jared Cook came with the big game today, too.
Yeah, again, I think I go back to the same thing with this offensive line, which we've talked about being one of the best in football. They played that whole game without their left side. And, so a lot of people were stepping up for them. And, again, Cam Jordan had a big game on the defensive line as well.
4 sacks for New Orleans. They got all that, and they still struggled to win the game.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we've got a lot more coming your way here on CBS. We will step aside and continue with the State Farm postgame show after this, including the late game that we have on our air, giving you an update on that one, Jacksonville at Tennessee. Join us on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, as the NFL on CBS carries on a holiday tradition. The Bills taking on the Cowboys. Coverage begins with a special edition of the NFL Today that'll come your way at 4 Eastern right here on CBS as we welcome you back to the State Farm postgame show, and we take you right back to the highlights.
Here we go, Denver at Buffalo. Buffalo QB Josh Allen tosses one to the corner, and John Brown lays out for the 34-yard touchdown, put him up 20-3. Then how about this? Oh, jump in the stands. Frank Gore takes the handoff, and he passes Barry Sanders for third on the all-time rushing list, only behind Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton. Buffalo wins 20-3.
15 seasons added, and of course, Frank Gore, as Phil just mentioned, moved up the charts. And afterwards, it was our Jay Feely asking him about that move up.
I got to take my hats off to all my coaches, man, who I played with in the NFL. All my linemen, man. I want to tell them thank you. Thank you for every block, every play call, my receivers, fullback, and I really appreciate it. And I'm blessed, man. Thank to that man up above. I'm here, and I'm still having fun playing ball.
Yeah, and you got 4 tough games coming up for this Buffalo team. What do you see? You've been around the league so much. You've seen great football. What do you see from this team that will bring you into the playoffs and get you through these next few games?
We're a tough team. You know, we offense, defense, special team, we all play as one. You know, great coaches. We believe in our coaches. And as long as we keep working and keep going, taking one day at a time, we're going to be fine. We're ready to make that run.
All right, thanks, Frank. Congratulations.
And there it is, third overall, right behind Sweetness himself, Walter Payton, and, of course, Emmitt Smith, who carries the #1 spot. He passes Barry Sanders, and that is legendary company, JP.
And I just wanted to say one thing, honestly. Frank Gore, when he came out of Miami of Florida, he had a medical. He had a knee that a lot of people did not even pass him. And until that's just a credit to this
Which makes this even more remarkable. And after the game in the Buffalo locker room, of course, he got the game ball.
Listen. I know I speak for everyone in here, Frank, when I tell you what an honor it is to just watch it every day, man. It's an honor to have you as a teammate. Thank you.
All right, how about the Jets and the Raiders? Jets have now won 3 in a row. Sam Darnold's going to throw 2 touchdown passes today. First for 315 yards, no interceptions. Hey, it's the first time in franchise history that they've actually have led by at least 30 points in consecutive games. Wow. Think about that for a second. And the first time scoring 34 or more points in 3 consecutive games since 2008. Brett Favre was the quarterback at that time. Huge loss for the Raiders. They fall to 6-5. Jets are now 4-7. And we have gone from Sam Darnold seeing ghosts against the New England Patriots, playing poorly against the Miami Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars, to now having 3 really strong games all in a row. And the Jets have won 3, and they look like a completely different team than they did 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, and on the other side, we have went from crowning the Raiders for catching their rhythm or their swag or their chemistry. Then all of a sudden, these guys coming out here and just dropping the ball, figuratively and literally. And here we are looking at the AFC playoff picture. New England, of course, playing right now. Baltimore still in position. But Houston, Kansas City.
Guys, next week, Cleveland at Pittsburgh is a huge game right here on CBS.
Sure.
And that's going to be at 1 o'clock. And it is going to be, remember, a game where we just saw those 2 teams go at it, and a bunch of guys get suspended and fined. And now this game has extra meaning because of the Pittsburgh win in Cincinnati today.
No, I was saying Boomer's doing a great job throwing promos out there for us. I like that. It was good, Boomer. You know, a lot of things. So the Raiders, everything has to go perfect for them to win the game. Emotionally, all that. They come over here. And the Jets, the big surprise about them, a couple things. Their offensive line's protecting Sam Darnold out of nowhere, but with a bunch of nobodies, a lot of guys hurt, and they can stop the run. And on the other side, the Buffalo game, why did they win the game today? What did they do? They ran the ball and ran the ball for 244 yards. When you do that, you are overpowering people. You're the more physical team, and that's the big reason why they won.
You know, you sit there and look at Devin Singletary, and a lot of attention went to Frank Gore, and I'll just finish my last thought on Frank Gore's. He's a remarkable young man. If you ever have an opportunity to see him, the humility that he expressed, and you saw that afterwards, that's what he stands for.
Yeah.
You know, Frank Gore is a guy, I said before, he came out of college from Miami. He had bad knees. People weren't even going to draft him. This guy continues to accept whatever role you give him. He's great for your team. He's unselfish to the nth degree. And you know what? He gives you a guy at the end of a game that he's going to secure the football. He'll get you the tough yards. I love that little combo they have with Devin Singletary and Frank Gore.
And watch this on Thursday right here on CBS.
Hey!
We have Frank Gore and the Buffalo Bills against the Dallas Cowboys.
That's
How do you
right.
like that one, Phil?
I loved it. Boomer, that was great.
You're going to be here, right?
I might. Are you?
That's
too bad.
Nate, you were going to add on to
Well,
that?
yeah, you know, I planned from 2003 to 2014. I was able to see Frank Gore, the old Frank Gore, and then now this current version of Frank Gore. And to your point, living within that humility, I dare you to try to compliment him. Before he says thank you, he will always point the finger to somebody else.
Not like anybody up here. You got
no
compliments.
We're all going to take the praise how we can get
Frank Gore got over 60 yards today. Devin Singletary over 100 for a great 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And you're right. When it's really on the line, I believe they would put Frank Gore in there because they trust him more.
And I'll tell you, Josh Allen, he had I think the one pick today.
Just one pick.
And he has had none before that. Threw a couple times into coverage, but his feet, his ability to extend plays, I tell you what, that keeps that offense going.
It's like a third running back, Coach.
It keeps the defense fresh.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, the guys were pretty salty earlier today, and now they're complimentary. This is all good.
Kumbaya.
And the State Farm Scheme Show continues after this. The SEC on CBS Thanksgiving weekend with Missouri taking on Arkansas on Friday. And, folks, on Saturday, one of college football's greatest rivalries. 5th-ranked Alabama faces 15th-ranked Auburn. That will be in the Iron Bowl right here on CBS as we welcome you back inside of Studio 43 and the State Farm postgame show and right to the highlights.
Yeah, in Cincinnati, they were winless, but at halftime, they were up 7-3 thanks to this pass right here from Ryan Finley to Tyler Boyd. But in the second half, after a sloppy start, Mason Rudolph, you can see right here, takes a sack. And Devlin Hodges, duck. He's going to replace him. He's going to come in, and, boy, instant success right there. You're going to see him throw it to James Washington across the field. Stiff arm, out of my way, boy. Just get out of my way. 79 yards. The Pittsburgh defense, 2 takeaways and 4 sacks on the day. Pittsburgh wins 16-10 and rushed for 160 yards, led by Benny Snell in 85. But up in Cleveland, the Browns are staying within the hunt, setting up that big matchup next week, as Boom talked about right here in CBS against Pittsburgh. It was Baker Mayfield on the day, 3 touchdown passes. Here you see him going to hit Odell Beckham Jr., and then he's going to throw 2 to Jarvis Landry, one of which was from his 5 yards out. Nick Chubb over 100 yards, and a Cleveland defense, 2 takeaways and 4 sacks of their own as they win very big in this game against the Miami Dolphins. And again, that should be a great matchup again as we get around that 6th seed for the playoffs. And remember what happened 2 weeks ago with that little scuffle at the end of the game. That should be a good one next week.
All right, Seattle Seahawks on the road in Philadelphia. Russell Wilson, he tosses it to Chris Carson. Chris Carson tosses it back. And who is he looking for after the trickeration? Malik Turner. That is a 33-yard touchdown. And it worked. The trick play called, and it went down. Here is Rashad Penny. Chris Carson struggled a little bit in this game, so the Seahawks called on a little penny like the old Anthony Hardaway commercials, and that's a 58-yard TD right there. The Hawks, they would win this one after the Eagles scoring late in the game, 17-9. The Seahawks making a run, sitting pretty in the wild card position.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
To say Philadelphia now is at 5-6. You take a look at their next 5 games, with the exception of the Dallas Cowboys, they will be favored in every single one of their games. So their season isn't over by a long shot. I know that this is a bad loss at home, actually back-to-back losses to the Patriots and the Seahawks, but they're not out of it yet. Their schedule is very favorable.
I have no faith that they can run a long winning streak. Their offensive line, it's really struggling. Who's Carson Wentz throwing it to? He's having turnovers. You know, you look at that, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, one quick note. Who's going to be the starting quarterback next week for Cleveland? For Pittsburgh, it should be Hodges.
It's definitely Hodges.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
And then Cincinnati, if they want to win a game, put Andy Dalton back in there. It gives you a better chance.
I'll tell you, the one guy that's having an unbelievable year that's gone under the radar, Joe Schobert, the inside linebacker for the Cleveland Browns. How about this? 4 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. Wow. That's pretty good.
So nice to put the spotlight on somebody deserving and overlooked. You're right. Hey, and the State Farm postgame show continues.
This is the State Farm postgame show.
And welcome back to the State Farm post-game show. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and how the Russians hacked the American elections. That'll be followed by new episodes of God Friended Me, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary. That's tonight only CBS. And right now, our NFL Today insider, Jason Lockenfora, has an update.
Well, you guys were just talking about the Pittsburgh quarterback situation. There were some people in that organization who thought they should have rode with Duck in the first place. To your guys' point, I'd be shocked if they made a change. Tom Brady, we know, was questionable with an elbow injury. He's obviously playing in this game at 4:25, showing no wear and tear.
Touchdown pass.
Thank you, Moom.
Okay.
And keep an eye on the Detroit Lions. There's been a lot of angst there. Ownership not sure about the direction of that franchise. They play again on Thursday. Then they'd have 9 days after that if they don't show against Chicago in a game that's not on CBS.
Yes.
There could be some changes afoot there.
Well, you know, what I take away from today is that the Buffalo Bills are going to be a tough out for anybody. You know, they just keep on beating the teams they're supposed to beat. And by the way, the Jets, 3 straight games over 30 points scored. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Seattle Seahawks are winning on the road with the 49ers in control of the NFC West. Road to Miami will be on the road, and they're 6-0 this year playing outside of Seattle.
You know, I just look at the Dallas Cowboys and with where they are and playing against Buffalo on Thursday. That is going to be a really good game with a lot at stake.
Three teams that need to win: Buffalo, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, to kind of keep them in the spot they want to be. They got it done today.
Any more promos before we go?
No, that's it. Phil, you going to be here on Thursday?
Yeah, of course. It's Thanksgiving. There's a lot of food here.
We will see you on Thanksgiving Day. I'm not sure what Phil is thinking, but we'll find out on Thursday.
He's here with. I'll pay you.